Welcome to the Morning Mist 99 Above and Beyond Schizophrenia. It's where we're coming from, it's where we are, it's where we're going. Above and beyond. That's what we're about on this channel. We're all about getting above and we're all about going beyond, man. We're not going to settling. We're not going to sit here and make our home, build our homes in schizophrenia, be comfortable. It's about challenging ourselves. It's about overcoming. It's about transcending and bringing ourselves anew. So, this video, I want to talk about the positives of having schizophrenia or the advantages of having schizophrenia. And I got this idea because somebody asked me that question. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's an amazing question because I never thought that there was such a thing because I myself never experienced this. So, I did some digging and I came up with a few things. So, and at the end of it, I'm going to give my own thought on that, on the things I've heard and my own, kind of what I, after thinking about it, what I came up with. A couple videos here, or three of them, I think. One of them is two videos and then some quotes. So the first one is from a young kid. I'm not sure how old he is, or he looks young, but very intelligent, very reasonable, very good things to say. His name is Elliot Macgabhann. Elliot Macgabhann. He has a YouTube channel. Check him out if you want to hear his content. He has some good stuff. I recommend it. Then there's another one from a Dr. Todd Grande. Todd Grande. You see, I'm like, what the heck is this guy's name again? Dr. Todd Grande. So I'm gonna play both videos, and then the third video, which is gonna be the one with the quotes. So I'm just gonna put these in sequence.
Is positive I feel like I've gotten from it is creativity.
I mentioned earlier that I thought that the superpower that all people with mental disorders have access to is this ability to empathize and understand other people who have mental disorders. But kind of in light of my experience and other things I've learned, I would say it's not necessarily about the symptoms, right? It's not because somebody who's depressed knows what somebody else feels like when they're depressed, that they understand feeling hopeless or worthless. It's not because somebody who has consumed substances in excess understands cravings, understands why people commit crimes to gain money to buy more alcohol or buy drugs. I believe there is some degree of connectedness that occurs when you share a symptom with somebody else, certainly. That's a part of it. But I think the real superpower, the real advantage, is understanding what people with mental disorders go through in terms of the stigma.
All right, so here we have some website, ResearchGate. We have a question somebody posed. Now I searched for positives. What are some of the positives of schizophrenia? And I guess there's a couple websites I found, people asking the same questions and giving some answers. So this one is from a website called ResearchGate. The question was, are there evolutionary advantages to having mild schizophrenia? If so, what are they and why might they arise? So there's a distinction between, they say mild schizophrenia because mild and severe are, maybe there's no advantage to having severe schizophrenia, but I would assume this question would still just be schizophrenia. But let's see what some of the answers were. So this person says evolutionary. So these are that's a website. I don't know what these people's are or what their credentials are or whatnot, but just conversations people are having and some people from colleges and so forth answer. So this is one from this person, whatever, Sachin. Evolutionary psychologists claim that this standard prevalence rate implies that schizophrenia existed when Homo sapiens immigrated out of Africa. So with this long history of the disorder, nature had plenty of time to extinguish this maladaptive disorder. Yet The mental illness continues to plague the globe at an unwavering rate. Even instances in remote populations such as Australian Aboriginals and Nepali villagers remain constant. Hence, schizophrenia must have evolved or over time for some mysterious purpose or as a negative byproduct of an evolutionary benefit. So it's a good point, I think, because if it has survived that long, if that's what they've discovered, that it's been around for that long of a time, then why is it still here? It's got to be because evolution is you take the good survival traits and you do away with the rest because those aren't gonna help the species. So why is schizophrenia still around, right? So it must have some benefits, right? So that's what this person here is saying, or it's just a byproduct of something that's good, and then that's the result of it, right? Like they say, there's nothing good comes without a cost. So same person here, schizophrenia as an evolutionary advantage on the individual level. Reproductive advantage. They had one on the group level as well, but I just have this individual level. Reproductive advantage. Schizophrenics have a higher resistance to many things: to shock, visceral perforation, high dose of histamine, insulin, thyroxine, and other physiologically active substances, as well as infection and many allergies. So, psychological advantage, as Horbins claims. Horbins is a researcher, or he has a book called The Madness of Adam and Eve, and maybe he's a doctor too, I don't know. But in this book, I didn't read the book, I just saw some information about it, and he felt that the human being, or that in our separation from apes to humans, schizophrenia was that trait that allowed us to have is that break, right, from that ape-like mentality to this human reasoning consciousness, right? And schizophrenia is that, it's almost like the missing link, I guess. So when you look at the transition from ape to human, there's this missing link. So schizophrenia is that portion in between from ape mentality to the human mentality, right? So that's what his, if I understand right, I just did a quick reading of it, so that's what it seems like. So anyway, psychological advantage, as Robbins claims, schizophrenia is a whole body disorder demonstrated through the unusual posture, gait, and body shape of diagnosed individuals. The high fever of schizophrenic individuals provides further evidence to Horbin's theory. So I guess his theories probably have a lot more than just what I just stated, but that was just a quick synopsis of the Adam and Eve madness. Psychological advantage, there is no evidence that links psychosis, particularly schizophrenia, with creativity, which disproves my hypothesis. But then Horbin's theory, I think it does say that creativity is likely a part of it, right? So who knows? David Charles. Okay. Other members of society might treat such individuals as shamans, prophets, or other sorts of holy men and women due to their apparent powers to connect with other realities. Their enhanced social prestige could increase access to vital resources and care. This seems to have been the case in many societies throughout space and time, and that's something I've heard as well. A buddy of mine always said, "Oh, Paul, you're a shaman," because that's in certain cultures, people with schizophrenia are regarded as shamans. They're taken and instructed on how to not allow the illness take a hold of them or control them, but they learn to maybe control the illness to some extent. They don't lose themselves in the delusions and the paranoia and the hallucinations, but I guess learn to tap into it. And so they're, high status. People seek them out for wisdom and direction and so forth. So that's, and then some people said that probably not just this one person, but maybe even Hobbes as well, and others might think that people, prophets in the Bible and so forth, were given to schizophrenia delusions and hallucinations and so forth, which is why they get all these visions and voices and such things. So that's a theory as well. This one is from a Quora website. So somebody asked, what are some good things that come with having schizophrenia? And I just got a couple things from here because a lot of it was pretty much the same. There's only one advantage from a Stuart McFadden. There's only one advantage of having severe mental health problems. You can understand what it's like to have a severe mental health problem. People can read and try to understand and empathize and get along way there, but really you can never really know what it's like, the sheer horror of it, without having one. And that's kind of what Dr. Todd was saying as well. But more on the, his was more on the stigma. Leah Burns, I mean, I think there's some small benefits that are not all worth it, but I have more empathy for failure and extenuating circumstances now. I have a better perspective on what to be grateful for and priorities in life, but only because I'm close to having a life that sucks, even by those perspectives. So they said they have a small benefits, not really anything that's really worth it. So there you have it. Just a few possibly positive things from schizophrenia and evolutionary advantages, and just to people who may have some positive thoughts on it. Okay, now I want to just add some of my thoughts on what some of the positives of schizophrenia are, and what I thought about Dr. Todd and Elliot, what they said. I mean, personally, I actually agree with what they said to some degree. I don't. I really appreciate what their takes on it and their positive outlook. I think that's really great and that's necessary. And I don't despise that at all. I really appreciate when people try to find ways to pick themselves up and to keep themselves moving forward. And those who, like Dr. Todd, who made that, from what I can tell, doesn't have schizophrenia, from what I was watching a video, but at least his thoughts towards those who may be diagnosed with schizophrenia, and just the heart that he has towards that whole situation, and I really appreciate that. But when it comes to, let's say, what Elliot was talking about with creativity, I think is good. But at the same time, I think creativity is already within you. I think this is something that's already part of your character, part of your personality, whether it's drawing, whether it's poetry, writing, stories, music. I don't think schizophrenia adds or gives you this. I think it's already a part of you. I think, if anything, schizophrenia uses these talents of yours in order to reflect itself. This is an illness, and sickness by its nature wants to thrive within the human being, whether it's your mind or your body. Right? It wants to live. It wants to continue itself. With schizophrenia, it needs our attention, it needs our cooperation. A way for it to gain this is to reflect itself in our creative, through our creative minds, right? It's a way for it to be on our mind, on our minds. A lot of art I've seen from people with schizophrenia are demonic, tormenting, horrific, just sad, frightening, and this is what people are feeling inside. This is the nature of schizophrenia. It's not all of it is like that, because sometimes some people experience other things, right? But for the most part, that's what it is. A lot of these other positive experiences where the voices are talking to you nicely and saying good things about you and to you, usually that comes with being on medication. Once the medications is stopped, those positive things turned negative. So whatever good pictures you're painting, positive pictures of light will turn to pictures of darkness, or poetry of darkness. I kind of write certain things as well, but it's not through the lens of schizophrenia. I try to capture some of my feelings, my emotions, but because I know how this story goes, I try to keep it hopeful. Schizophrenia is something that takes hope from you, and it tries to keep this hopelessness in you, remind you of it by reflecting itself to something that's right in front of your eyes. And you can, every time you look at that, you'll see just how miserable you are. I don't think this in itself is a good thing. I think we can use, instead of allowing it to use us to produce works that reflects it, we use our creativity to create works that transcend it, works that oppose it, works that defy the darkness it tries to impose on us, works that speaks something of hope, something courageous, something of love, something of light, some things of faith, some things that's empowering and uplifting. I think these are great ways to challenge schizophrenia and to show our resistance to its effect and its impact on our lives. That's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you gained something. I know my take is not the popular take. I know a lot of people see it differently, but this is just my opinion, my thoughts, and it doesn't mean I'm right necessarily. It's just my own perspective, and just take it for that. And but as long as you keep moving forward and taking back your life, living it on your terms, I think you'll do all right. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm already tired as it is. And anyways, keep moving forward, man. Schizophrenia is a very debilitating illness. It can be, if you're battling it, you're still here, then it's a testament of your resilience, good supports, and your courage. And I just want to say that you can definitely get through it. You can definitely overcome it. You can take your life back and you can live it on your terms. I firmly believe this. I've done it. I'm sure others have as well. And I'm sure you can. So until next time, take care of yourself. Later.